Well, it's come down to this. A rogue card list. Basically, I don't really need to put any words as to my opinions on this, but well done, Bandai. Well done. Um, yeah, I have barely any problems with this restriction list. Uh, quite frankly, and while I'm at it, I might as well kind of sort of apologize uh, to those who were somehow offended by anything that I might have said about them uh, expressing their disagreements with some cards, with like why they don't like them. I generally don't like threads like those where they are just meant to bash a particular card. It's just the reason I don't like those threads is because they always one way or another try to point the finger and bash on Bandai in consequence to that, and that just irritates me to no end. Um, will those videos stop? I can't guarantee it. But I will kind of give it a. I will consider them as rants. And if you do see any more videos that are like Master Wang's rant, just I'm not going to be in a calm state of mind in the with those. So I might be a bit more pushy in those at all. But um, Bandai clearly takes their players into strong consideration as to what they as to how they feel about the cards and what the meta game is, etc. Um, this doesn't mean you have to. This doesn't mean that I fully accept all the screaming and yelling and outrageous behavior on, say, like tailed beast form. That still doesn't excuse it. There is a calmer manner to express your disliking of a card, but I'm gonna push away from that. My thought, the overall the overall thoughts of it. Bottom line, I can understand why some people don't like this list. Minus the obvious that they're actually running these cards. Um, quite frankly, guys, those of you who actually do run these cards. Oh, hang on a sec. Shoot. Uh, almost ran out of battery. I gotta plug in my charger to my laptop here. There we go. Almost lost battery power there. Um, the those of you who run OC decks and you don't like this because of what it's done, your deck is not thrown out. Okay, the OC decks are just more balanced. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, those of you who run OC, you cannot tell me that it did not feel a little bit dirty of you in just playing that Amina. Don't take dirty the wrong way. By dirty, I mean you kind of didn't feel a little bit uncomfortable because, as Bruce, Tyler, and Andrew have mentioned on the podcast before, uh, Chain Lightning, when it first started, um, it was meant to do what it did. It was meant to crazy boost at the cost of milling cards off the top of your deck. That and the fact that Amina by herself canceled that did not sit well with me whatsoever. It's a fundamental weakness in Chain Lightning decks to discard cards off the top of your deck. Also, Amina, in my opinion, was the biggest card that got restricted. Um, and coincidentally, most of you don't think that she should have been. No, she should have been. Because Amina has single-handedly thrown out mill decks or deck discarding decks. Um, the fact that she's restricted now makes them a lot more playable, many times over more playable. And those of you who try to defend this, I cannot side with you at any point whatsoever. I do not like it when one particular card, no matter how many Fireball Jutsus or Genmas that you put in a deck to discard a client, if it keeps coming back out, I hate it when I actually have to feel the need to keep a Fireball Jutsu in my hand or keep Genma alive just to wait until you actually play Mina again. There's no excuse in defending Amina. She needed to be restricted. Either take the restriction or take the errata. Either way would have been fine. And you probably would have complained about that one too. But I can't side with anybody who says that Amina should not have been restricted because mill decks are playable now. I will now actually see a mill deck in the Kage more than likely at Akon. Okay? I don't care what anybody else says. Amina deserved it. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Let me first off by saying that I didn't really expect a rogue a banned or restricted list, but I expected more erratas. However, the restrictions are kind of, as I said, they are surprising, but I still don't have any problems with them. Shadow Clone Jutsu, I don't see any problems with it. I don't see any problems with limiting Jiraiya because god dang it, there are other versions of Jiraiya's out there, and ever since um his Eternal Rivalry form came out, it's been nothing but trouble. Now there are the good Jiraiya's out there. The Jiraiya's that have always gone unnoticed are just they're a lot more playable now. All of you take the time to look up every other turn 2 Gaara and every Jiraiya that you can find and give them a second look. Don't waste your time trying to get to try and prevent Jiraiya from coming back as a 3-copy ninja. Clearly they're not going to errata his effect. Um, so I mean, and frankly, I might not know why they didn't errata them and they want to do a restriction list instead. Uh, but I don't know why, but I still don't have any problems with it. I can live with it. I can live with not knowing. Um, Pardon me if I get cut off here. This is probably going to go into multiple videos here because of how big this is. Um, what was another one? Tragic Name. Tragic Name, I think, probably need to be restricted more than errata. It's kind of hard to errata that effect a little bit, um, without being subtly adjusting it. Subtly adjusting its effect would be hard to do. Um, Guys, Tragic Name Gaara is an amazing turn 2 ninja, but if you it's just they're the best at what they do, and thus it just blankets the rest of the field. It really makes no sense. I mean, Tragic Name Gaara, as good as an effect that he was, kind of really started to feel abused now. Bandai clearly thinks that he's being abused. And all the cards that they restrict, they pretty much feel that they're being abused. And if the gaming company says it, guys, I really don't know how you guys can see any different. Tragic Name Gaara is in almost every darn OC deck, like 99% of them. I mean, in fact, those big 5 were what made the OC decks unreasonably powerful. They were not unbeatable. They were not, but they were pretty darn annoying to play against. Um, if you don't like Shadow Clone Jutsu, put in some other jutsu that pumps them. I don't know, maybe a Rasengan that doesn't give damage if you want boost power. Maybe a multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu from Path of Hokage. Maybe some kunais. Or if you want to go back to Freedori Sasuke. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash people here. I'm just trying to get them to understand. I personally, I think this is all going to be water off